Hi everyone, welcome to another video from Crafty Terrain. My name's Lee and today we're going to be making ponds for our wargaming tables. Okay, these are the ponds that we've got and they look pretty cool, so let's get into the video and I'll show you how I did it. Okay, so to start the lake build off we're going to need a base. Okay, so I'm using this 6mm MDF, okay, and all you're going to do is just draw a circle or whatever shape you want your lake onto the MDF, so you've got some lines to follow to cut out. So I want my lake to be fairly decent size and sort of like an ovally type shape. Okay, so I'm going to go with something like that to start off. And then what I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to go and get this cut out and bevel the edges off so I've got my base to work with. Okay, so the base is cut out to the lake. That's sort of the shape that I wanted right there. So this end here is going to be where the shoreline is, and then as it gets bigger here I want it to make it to look deeper. If you look, what I've done is used a sharp knife to go around the edges of the MDF to bevel that out and then just rub that down with sandpaper. I've done that in previous videos, so there's no need to go over that again. The next stage that I like to do now with our MDF is to protect it. I paint it brown on both sides and then I spray it with some varnish. If you want to see that in full detail, just go to, we've got a video on how to protect your MDF, and you just literally cover it in brown like that. I'm going to get all that done on both sides and then we'll come back and move to the next stage. Okay guys, we're back now. The next step for the lake slash pond is, after it's all varnished, is to build up the rim that's going to contain the resin and hold all the resin in that middle and stop it running out. Okay, so a little bank around the lake, and what I'm using for that is Luke's APS modelling compound. You want it that sort of consistency, like a sandwich filling. Okay, you just mix it with water. And you get about 15-20 minutes to work with that. This end's going to be my shore, so I'm going to leave this end open, and then what you're going to do is just place that on around the edges like so, okay, and that will stop any of the resin escaping when we do that pour in a bit. Okay, I'm going to go around, fill all this bank out, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look. I'm going to put some rocks in at that end and I'll show you how I'm doing that when I get there, okay? Okay, so I've built up the bank now and smoothed it all out, and that's drying quite nicely. And then at this end, what I wanted to do is have some like little rock feature. So I'm going to hot glue these rocks down like so, and then use the modelling compound to fill any of the gaps at the bottom where the rocks meet the base, just to make sure that when we pour the resin there's no gaps and that nothing can escape. I don't want it leaking everywhere and ruining the piece. Okay, so all I'm going to do is use my hot glue gun and then just put some hot glue on these rocks and stick them down. Simple as that really. And also this hot glue will help like lock up any gaps and stuff like that, make it watertight. So plenty of hot glue on this one. This is a nice piece of slate, and then just gonna put that into place and hold it down. Then what I'm gonna do is use these other little rocks I've got out in the garden to build it up a little bit more. I'll get that done and then we'll come back and have a look how it's looking. Okay, so with the bank all built up now and the rock formation up here, I'll bring that up to the camera so you can see. Just use that slate and built that up, so that's going to be the deeper end of the lake. That's fairly dry now. What I need to do is just go back in with my burnt umber now and paint all this bank back to brown and all the base where we've got the white modelling compound. You can use Das clay to build your bank if you've got any. I didn't, so I just didn't have any, and I had some of the Luke's APS modelling compound. You can use sculpt to mould as well if you wish, but this has worked just fine. So I'm going to get all that painted grey and I'm going to paint the rocks black, and then we're going to come back and have a look how it's going. Okay, so the next stages that we're looking for on the lake is we're going to be putting all our PVA on the edges, and then I'm just going to be using this arid earth mix from Geek Gaming to do that, and then I'm going to be using PVA to put my shoreline in here. Yes, so just take your PVA and just start brushing it on where you want it. So it's going to be covering all the tops of my banks and all the edges basically. And that's got a mix of grit and stone and grass in it. So that should look quite nice. I'm going to go around, just brush all this PVA on where I want the arid earth mix to sit, and then I'll come back and show you the pour. Okay, back in a minute guys. Okay, so with the first half all PVA, all I'm going to do now is just come along and just start sprinkling the mix on. To where you want it to go, and all that will grab to the PVA. Some of the heavy rocks will fall off when you pick it up and tap, but it's okay, you can just go back over and sprinkle on. So what then you do then is just pick it up, tap it off. So I'm using this plastic tray, so everything that comes off I can keep and use again. And then them little bits where the rocks have fell off, I can just go over the top with the lighter mix, and that'll stick and hold, and just follow the same process like so. And that'll be the edge of your bank, and then this bit here is going to be my shoreline with some pebbles and stuff, and it's going to run into the lake there. So it's starting to look quite good. I'm just going to go around and just finish the other half off now using exactly the same technique. Okay, so for the next stage, all the edges of the bank is done. Where I've put the PVA now, I want my little shoreline, and I'm going to be using this little mixture of grit and this sand. Okay, so I'm going to use the fine sand closer to the edge and then go to the grit as we get a little bit more into the water. So you just want to just sprinkle that on, and then just sort of create the mix and just sort of pull the two together so they blend in nicely like so, and that will give you the shoreline that I'm looking for. So, and then what my plan is to do as I pour the resin in, I'm going to have that just sort of stop along that line there, so it does give you a little shore hopefully. And just sprinkle in any bits that you've missed, and then you can shake that off and save the bits that haven't stuck to the PVA. But it's starting to come together now, liking how it's looking. I might add some reeds and stuff as well for the next stage. So then all we do, again, same process, just pick it up and just shake the excess off. And that gives you your little shoreline like so. Might try and blend that a little bit more so it's not as harsh. All you got to do is just sprinkle some on and mash it into the PVA, so you don't get a contrast line, so it looks very natural, like the water's washed it to where you want it to go. That looks a little bit better, to be fair. I'm a little closer, and then just again shake that off, and that looks pretty good. Then you can just keep all the bits that you've shaken off, tip it back into your pot. Right, I'm going to let that dry now, and then we'll come back. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing now is making some reeds for the pond. So what you're going to do is get yourself some, these are cut from a garden broom or a yard broom, the hard bristles. Just get them all to where they're quite level, and you can, if you want, just you take a pair of scissors and just snip across the bottom. Don't worry too much about the top, we can tidy the top up later on. It's the bottom we're going to be attaching to the glue. Then what we're going to use is a piece of parchment paper or baking paper that's non-stick, and you're just going to put a blob of hot glue on like so, and then take the reeds and just stick them into the hot glue, okay, and then just hold them there and let the glue cool. And then what this will do is, once the glue is dried and it's hard, you can just peel it off the parchment paper, and then you can just stick it into your pond with a bit of super glue or some PVA glue, or however you want to do it. And then this way you've got yourself some nice pond reeds. Bit time consuming, but I don't need that many, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And then as that started to harden, I'll bring that up nice and close to the camera for you. You've got yourself some reeds stuck in the hot glue. I'm going to go around and make myself a few more sets of them, and then we'll come back when we're ready to stick them in. Okay guys, so the reeds have gone on now, and I've just painted the hot glue brown, and they look quite nice on there. Now the next thing I'm going to do, we're getting close to the end of this little piece now, is I'm going to go around and I'm going to dab on some PVA glue, and I'm just going to use some clump foliage with some flowers, some dark and light clump foliage, and some vines, this sort of stuff here, and I'm going to put this on the rocks and around the edges just to give them finishing details, and then it'll be time to pour the resin. Okay, so all you got to do is just get a brush, take some of your PVA, put a dab on where you want, some there, just go around, make it look quite random, take a piece of your clump foliage that you want to use and just tack it onto the glue. Okay, and that just adds a bit of colour, a bit of detail to the piece, as you would see in where there's normally water, there's plant life and stuff like that, and that'll just look nice. And then same with the rocks, again just go in, put the glue where you want it, and then I like dark greens in the rocks so it looks mossy, so just take some of my dark green clump foliage, and it's the same process really, just rip it off how you want and then just force it onto the PVA, and that'll dry nice and it'll hold in place. So I'm going to go around, do all the rest, and then we'll come back and we should be getting very close to doing the pour of the resin, which I'm a little bit nervous about. Right guys, we'll be back. Okay guys, we're back, and the pond now is all dry and it's ready for the resin to get poured. Okay, so what I have here is this pre-mixed. I have used a little set of scales. This is 200 grams of the clear cast resin, this stuff here from CFS, sorry. And then what this is it's a two-part, and you have a little bottle of catalyst to go in. I did first see this product on Luke's APS, and I have done a lot of research into resins and stuff, and this is actually the cheapest one that I could find on the market. It's way cheaper than buying the actual hobby products and things like that. It's like an industrial website. You can buy it in big drums if you really need, or you can buy it in a small 1 kilo drum. I actually got the 5 kilo because my plan is to make a river further down the line. And then what you do, you mix this up at what percent you want. You just follow the instructions. So I'm mixing it about a 3%, 2.5%, 3%. So in this top of the bottle here, it is all mixed for you. You just add that to the catalyst, and it'll you stir, and it should mix together nicely. Okay, so just unscrew the lid. Pour it in. And then you can give it a good stir. You can add inks because it's a brown pond. I am going to be adding some brown ink to this mix to give it a nice dirty look, murky water. We'll start with a few drops and mix that in, and we can add more if we want. You do have to stir this for a couple of minutes. You can see that's turning a murky colour now. Give it a good mix, let the catalyst mix with the resin, and then it will take, I think, about 24 hours to properly go off and be completely hard. That's looking quite nice. Might add one more little bit of ink. You can see the ink goes quite a long way in the mix. You don't need to put much in. You do have to give it a good stir. Guys, if you're liking what we're doing, then go and subscribe if you want to see more. Remember to click the thumbs up and leave us a like if you've enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, get down in the comments and let us know. We will get back to you down there. Give this another stir for another couple of minutes, and then we'll go for the pour. I think we'll add a touch more. You need to be on a flat surface as well. Okay. And then all you got to do to pour is start in your centre of your piece and then just let that, it will spread out and it will self-level, and just help it along the way to the edges around them reeds. As you can see, it's moving nicely. And then up to our shoreline. That's looking good. I think this table is slightly on an angle that I've never noticed because it is running to the one side. So if you just tilt that up, it'll just move back like so, and you can get it to flow where you want it to be, and then you just need to leave this on a flat surface to dry. We'll pour some more in this end. That's looking pretty nice. What I'll do, guys, I'll let that dry and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at it once it's all fully dry. Okay, so we're back in the studio now and it's been 24 hours. I'm not alone today, I've brought a little helper with me. It's not much help, those fell asleep on the job. Okay, so let's get back to the piece. As you can see, they're looking pretty cool now. That resin's dried nice and hard. This piece down here on the right is something I was working on off camera, and that's going over to the US to War Corgi for his battle reports. He's been putting in a lot of hard work through lockdown to keep the Legion community entertained, and that's Crafted Terrain's way of saying thank you, really. I feel a little bit more confident now using this clear cast resin, and the plan is in the future to take on a bigger project, something like a river or something like that. Okay, so guys, if you've got any comments or anything you want to know, let us know down in the comments section and we'll get back to you and try and help you out. Okay then, let's get this wrapped up. Okay everyone, I hope you found that useful, and I hope you feel a little bit more confident now to have a go and use resin for water effects. Again, I'm happy with how these have turned out for my first time using that resin, and the plan is to attempt a river, which is going to be a bit of a bigger project for the channel, using this resin down the line. Keep an eye out for these pieces of terrain in the battle reports. This one's going to be going over to War Corgi in the States, and hopefully we'll get to see that in his battle reports, and then this one will be staying here with us to use in our battle reports here at Crafted Terrain. If you have enjoyed the video, then please leave us a like, and if you want to see more, remember to subscribe and click that bell. Take care and have a great day.